Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings. Been doing it, haven't been a while since I did the video. Was traveling last week. Now let's get back. And before we start, just a quick disclaimer: anything we discuss is just for educational purpose. Nothing is financial advice. All right, guys. Micron earnings, insane day. Today was a very important day because a lot of things were happening today. The rotation was happening. Gap up and gap fill was happening. A lot of names were selling off. A lot of AI themes were selling off, but a lot of themes were running. JP Morgan, UNH. You need to understand the rotation, like what sectors are running. So definitely a lot to learn there today, and also there was a earning setup, A+ setups, MTF using the MTF clouds. So overall it was a pretty good day for the community. Most of the community was done in the first hour. So if you struggle today, especially if you struggle today, this is a good recap for you to watch. Even if you did not struggle, you had some good plays. Still, it's one of the good videos, recaps to watch, so you could understand what was happening in the market. Before we do that, just a quick introduction because there's a lot of new followers. Just an introduction for anybody who's new to our community, new to my YouTube, new to our ripstereducation.com, or new to any of our X accounts, Tenet Charts, Tenet Research, Ripster account, or Tenet Trade Group. We trade a repeatable system called Ripster Cloud System. I've been teaching this system for over 8-9 years freely. Most of my education is free. Thousands of traders across the world have used my teachings, my systems all over the world to trade consistently. Many lives have been changed doing that. So you can go to ripstereducation.com. You can see all the the results of my teachings, free teachings, which have helped the traders. So anyways, we use the same concepts live in our community, Tenet Trade Group, the largest online trading community, where we use all this our system, which is how you trade, which is not only my Ripster EMA Cloud System, but it's also my concepts of risk management, psychology, anything you do, day trading, swing trading, investment. This is what we use in our community. We also have our Tenet Research, which is more focused on a research platform. You can research your stocks, and we also have a swing and a long-term investing portfolio that we manage there, and we help the traders learn. Education first. We are not a alert service. We make consistent traders. That's what I always do. Try to teach the traders to how to grow their portfolios and save money in the market, preserve their capital. So how do we do that? Every morning in the pre-market, we make a live game plan. Live in the pre-market, we make a plan. On what plays we're going to play. I highlighted everything which is I think is important as red, but there's a different kind of plays. There's news plays, there's earning plays, there's market plays, there's upgrades, there's downgrades. We have a key here so people can see what we are trading. Anything important I highlighted as a red. We talk about a lot of other things. For example, banks were strong. We'll talk about those banks as well today. And then we have many other guides we provide in the pre-market. We also have something called a day 2, day 3 system, and I did a free webinar on that. We provide the day 2, day 3 setups to the traders. AAOI was a nice day 2 setup there today. We also had PLTR, all those top day 2 setups. We'll take a look at those, and of course we had CBRS as well on our day 2 setups there. So in addition to that, we also trade crypto. We have a crypto levels we provide to the traders every morning. We'll take a look at the crypto shorts as well today. And we also trade futures, we trade low floors, we trade IPOs, we trade penny stocks. We have all those channels and in our room where we trade that. And we use a lot of tools. We use 3-4 option flow scanners, stock scanners, breaking news alerts, hold, unholds, order flow. Everything is a part of our community. There are multiple tools which are worth $500-600, which are free for anybody who joins the community and use that. So we use all these tools to trade consistently. I'm live in the morning. I'm live on my screen. I'm live on voice and guiding the traders all day long through the setups, through the market, helping them preserve the capital and helping them finding good setups, and so that I could show the traders which is the best setup to trade. So anyways, that's a quick introduction. Let's start with today's game plan. Let's start with the SPY, QQQ, and SPX, how we traded that today. All right, so let's start with our SPY QQQ. So what happened today, right? So everything was pretty good. We were kind of gapping up, and what happened to the market at the open? So let me explain that what exactly was happening. Let me just turn these things off here. Just take everything. No, maybe this is the wrong channel. 1 second. So what happened to the market today, right? It's not clear if you look at the daily chart on SPY QQQ. If I go to the 10-minute chart, so you can see that what was happening was, let's expand it a bit here, we were gapping up, right? So the first thing to note is whenever there's a gap, there's an opportunity. Whenever there is a gap, there's an opportunity. So first of all, you need to know your gap: yesterday's closing, today's opening, right? All right, so let's make it here. Whenever there's a gap, there's an opportunity. If you watch my webinar that I did, a 2-hour webinar, how to trade SPY QQQ for living, which you find in our community, I discussed this in detail. And if you watch my playlist on SPY QQQ, SPX, NASDAQ, whatever I'm discussing here is for SPY QQQ, SPX, NASDAQ, futures, S&P futures. You can trade leverage ETFs, you can trade options. So all this concept is right behind it. So you see, this is the gap. Same thing was on QQQ. So we draw the QQQ gap. QQQ was a little bit more gap because tech was gapping up. Closing price, opening price, gap, right? So you see those are the gaps. Now we had a bullish bias, right? I will go to the plan. A few more things to note here. We were sitting right on the MTFs here. We're sitting on, there's the bottom MTF right here. 50 MTF, 1 hour MTF. Few things to note. What do you analyze in the market when the market open? You analyze VIX. These days you analyze US dollar yields. I tweeted about how to be pro at the market, understanding yields, dollar and everything. But to keep things simple, you analyze VIX and you analyze your Magnificent Seven, Apple, Microsoft, all those names, you analyze that. So once the market opens, let's go back to our plan. So once we analyze it, we are ready to trade at the market open. We are ready for a few things. We are ready to short it if it's a gap fill, and we are ready to long it if it's a MTF cloud push. Right, so you got to be ready. If you want to make good solid trades this first 1 hour, you need to learn to trade 1 hour. You should not do anything when there's no gap. That's fine. There can be gap and go, and there can be gap and gap fill. The 2 repeatable setups, part of our strategies that I teach in my webinars as well. Those are the 2 setups that you need to know. So let's look at our pre-market plan. What was our pre-market plan on SPY QQQs? Let's take a look here. I often share it on Twitter as well. Market over 1 hour MTF, long setup into the MTF magnet as long as VIX stays under 18. Listen this carefully. As long as VIX stays under 18 and US dollar gets weak. We've been watching US dollar. That's why silver and gold has been weak. Watch the tech, semis and Magnificent Seven. Bullish bias, but no go under MTF. So a few lines you need to pay attention here. VIX stays under 18 for long buys, but no go under MTF. Just this line, that's all you needed, and you were done for the day. How was that? Let's go. So now you saw the plan. So let's see what happened. I was on the voice, I was on the live screen, and I told the traders, no long, short the amateur moves. Why did I do that? Here's why I did it. VIX right at the open, what do you see? 18 breakout. Super confident, high confident trade. VIX 18, right? Just like I talked about. VIX 18. What did SPY do? SPY, all right, we can look side by side. MTF fail. MTF short setup. VIX breakout setup. High confidence short. So I told the traders, no long, short the amateur move. Amateur move is the first move, the first candle. So as it started to work, I said move the stops lower. You keep moving the stops to 3450 or MTF clouds. Then I gave the targets. Yesterday lows on SPY and QQQ, same thing on QQQs. So I'm just trying to show you how we plan in the pre-market and how it was a time-stamped guidance live. So let me show you my voice transcript, right? So Apple we'll talk about later. So I told the guy SPY is heavy. You short on the amateur, right? You short on the amateur, and QQQ short, QQQ short, SPY short, and we were short, right? We will talk about the Bitcoin short here as well, but it was all on the voice that I was discussing it. So the point is that we were ready. Now what happened? So what happened was that so when this happens, what do you see? Mag 7 flushes. I'm going to go through them one by one here. Amazon, you see the flush candle. Microsoft was a short. Of course, it was all day short. We shorted it. I'll talk about it a little bit later. Apple flushes, right? Meta, big candle flushes. Tesla flushes, but a little choppy. So everything was weak, right? So everything was weak. Google had a relative strength, and Bitcoin, big flushes, morning candle, right? So you see everything was weak. You could literally pick up whatever was short. Of course, Dow Jones were strong. We'll talk about it a little later. But you need to know that tech was weak. The QQQs were weak, and that's why you could short Nasdaq. You could short Nasdaq futures. You could short. There's many ways to make money, and this is not that I'm saying that you have to. You can literally do what makes sense to you. Some traders in my community trade futures. They short Nasdaq futures. Some traders do SPX. They do SPX options. Some traders do SPY QQQ. Some traders take long on leverage ETFs, right? So you could long SQQQ leverage ETFs to make money that way, right? So anyway, so you could see the flushes on Nasdaq futures. You could trade that. Let me go back to the other back to QQQs. What I wanted to show you now. Once you are short, then comes our concept of MTF magnet. What is happening here? SPY from one MTF to the next Ripster MTF. So that's called the concept of MTF magnet. So you short from one MTF, you take the short to the MTF. And just to let you know that it's not all the talk. We do it live. Our traders do it live. You can see that, CDK did 200%. DEED had 100% SPX. RB had 200%. Todd had 150%. Rolex had 650%. Patrizia 150. Mando did 300% on ES futures. 300%. Some traders shorted some other names. Tesla, DRAM. You could literally short whatever you want to short and make money with this setup. The reason being, we had high confidence setup. VIX strategy told us that market is volatile. MTF Clouds told us that it's a resistance here. The Mag 7 told us that a lot of names are selling off, so we'll see the flush. Now came our 10 a.m. So this is why I tell everyone, cover into 10 a.m. trend time. So what did I say? Cover most into 10 a.m. trend time. I said short 9:33. After almost half an hour, I said cover most into 10 a.m. trend time. That's the reason. If you go to ripstereducation.com, you can see that all this, you can see that SPY VIX strategy. Lives have been changed by this strategy. Learn it. You can consistently wait for a day like a gap day and not do anything the rest of the day. And then you have our 10 a.m. trading concept. Not something new. Do again and again and again. If you're my old follower, you already know what I'm talking about. So that's how you trade the first half an hour. Now, one more thing before I wrap this section. You got to see the rest of the day was job. 1 hour. What did the SPY QQQ do? SPX, SPY, QQQ, Nasdaq futures could never push over the MTF clouds, and VIX held on all day. So there was no real trade all day. You could short if you were like a sniper, you could short it, but there was no real trade left for the day. If you go to 1 hour candle, the whole day action was stuck in between the 1 hour candle. Not only that, if you see that, we just had a range bound action from the last few days. So guys, so that's how you find opportunities. Remember, when there's a gap, there's an opportunity. That's your setup. Use the VIX strategy, use the MTF clouds, hold for your targets, use the 10 a.m. concept, wrap it up in the first day, avoid the choppy days, wait for a day like today, use all these concepts, be a successful SPY, QQQ, SPX, Nasdaq, S&P futures traders, and you will be consistent, minimize your losers. On a day like today where the traders are doing 300% means you're risking 1,000, making 3-4 grand. You're done for the day. Thank you. Let's go to the next one. We can talk about some crypto shorts if you want to, but the crypto, what happened was same thing was with crypto. Crypto was also the first 1 hour candle, and then it bounced from 10 a.m. 10 a.m. bounce. You see that bounced. The Bitcoin respects the clouds very nicely. And if I go to my crypto sheet, I provide those levels every day in our crypto sheet. Bitcoin level 61,000, coin 152, MSTR 94. So you could take those levels once MSTR breaks 94, short it. When the whole story about what over leverage. So that was a beautiful trade. A lot of my traders did trade a lot of these names here. So you could see that Matt was on short, AV was on short there, Brett was short, Surya, a lot of traders, they were literally short there. So you can find opportunities all across. You just need to know what's happening with the market, like what sectors are weak. If Bitcoin is weak, you short coin. Take the coin. You could see that coin once it broke that level, 152 is the levels we give in the pre-market. Literally, you could turn your $1,000 put into 3,000 by end of the day. All right, so let's talk about another setup today, Apple. So what was the plan on Apple? Let's go to our pre-market planning, and then we'll see what's going on here. There's so much happening in the pre-market. When I'm on the voice, I focus on a certain names, but my traders already have the game plan. They know what I'm looking at. They know that our system. They're already self-sufficient traders. So that's what I'm trying to teach you guys as well, how you can be there. So what was the plan on Apple? Apple raises iPad and Mac prices because it blames Micron, that memory chips are high. So what I said in the pre-market planning is still heavy. If Mag 7 strong, only then look for the curls over 293. Look at the resistance. Neutral bias. I had a neutral bias. It was still kind of bullish news, like Netflix raises prices, goes higher, but we have to see the whole market environment. I saw the market is dumping. And Apple broke the 50 MTF clouds, the daily 50. It's a very important concept. Everybody should know that when something breaks the daily 50, 55, it's great for day trade. It gives you the flushes. So as soon as they broke that, I knew it's a short. I told the traders short it, but you could wait for the pops to short it. But anyways, as soon as the level gave up, the level of 290, that's where you hit it, right? You just hit it short. You see it's here. You hit it short right at the open. And then I told the traders that, cover some into 10 AM, 10 time from the 288 to 90 short, hit 277. I did not tell my traders to close. My traders do not close until the 512 calls. All you need to do is hold. We hit 273. Even if you were late, let's say you were late, you hit it like when I mentioned it at like 282s. And even then you made almost $8 to $9 per share profit, and you get out when this 512 calls. And if you were trading you can always trade the leverage ETFs there. You could trade the leverage ETF. You could short that. You could, you could do the Apple options. Let's take a look at the Apple options here. So let's take a look at 280 puts. You could see that how they went from like 80 cents to $6. Even if you're a little late, $2 to $6. You could literally turn your $2,000 into $6,000, $1,000 into $3,000. But you need to hold. You need to respect. If you're a little too late, you size small. Watch my Lot of Friday video on risk management webinar to understand how to manage risk. But that was a beautiful trade. Pre-market planning and live guidance. And I told the traders to move their stops to 278, and we faded all day. We closed once they tried to call there. All right, so let's talk about Micron now. So Micron our top play, of course, top play, top earning play. So Micron, initially we longed it, right? So we longed it right here. What was the plan? So Micron, by the way, we also traded it. So before we do that, let's look at the earning numbers on Micron. We go to our Tenet Research. You go in Tenet Research, enter Micron, and you will see the numbers. What we see on the number. You could see it's making 41 billion revenue in a quarter. It was making 8 billion, right? And its earning is 28 billion, almost more than Nvidia. So anyways, the growth is crazy, revenue growth, EPS growth, and hyper growth, like crazy growth. So we know it's the best stock in the market. Super bullish growth. If you look at the revenue trajectory, it's expected to make over by 2028, expected to make over $242 billion. Just insane, right? It's gonna go higher. So we know the fundamentals are super bullish. The funds are going to try to load up. The institutes are going to try to load up. Nobody wants to be left behind in the stock, which is kind of the top dog in the market right now. If you see my tweets from before, I even said that Micron is next Nvidia. Let's take a look here. So you can see that I talked about that Micron is next Nvidia, new Nvidia, because of the growth. You could see that when I talked about this, that, and we have traded Micron again and again and again and again. You can see that when we traded this long, when it was trading at 300s for the MTF longs. I mean, it's just following the cloud system. I also did a bunch of videos on Micron and SNDK, you know, continuously research on our Tenet research platform. We traded the 500 breakout on Micron. You could see that 500 psychological breakout. And it's $1,000 now, right? We even did this breakout when the 600 calls were coming out. And because it's the hottest sector, it's hottest sector. So it's going to continue the push. So now let's see what was our plan this morning. So that's the history of Micron. We even traded yesterday when the earnings came out. I longed it at 1,085. We sold at 1,200. And a lot of traders swung it, but so that's fine. You know, you trade after hours. In the pre-market, we traded it. What was the plan this morning? So our plan this morning for the traders who missed the fun yesterday was simple. Bullish bias, a pullback is ideal to add versus 1200. Watch out if 1200 breaks. Look carefully. I said, watch out if 1200 breaks. Long over pre-market high. Target is 1300 if breaks out. So that was the plan. Pre-market highs. Pay attention right here. So what did we do? So Micron, we longed it, small size versus 1220. We put our stops at 1220, 1235 our entry right here, or 1239, wherever you got it. We were trying to long this pre-market high breakout. So the first candle was green, which is called the amateur candle, but that amateur candle never really could push higher than the pre-market highs. So we stopped out, we took a loss, and then most of the traders shorted Micron because 1220 broke. Remember what I said, 1220. Watch out if 1200 broke. Sorry, 1200 broke. And of course 1220 was another support. I put both the support levels here, 1200, 1220. So we got out there, we got out of the longs. Traders shorted Micron. I gave them the targets of 1 hour MTF cloud. You can also draw. So you can also always draw Fibonacci here. You know, from yesterday's close, you can draw the Fibonacci. So see the buy levels. You know, you could see the Fibonacci was right there, 1120. And you see this support here. Look carefully. So this was a support area, this 1120, 1130. But so I told the traders, cover at the short and 1 hour MTFs. 1150 was my first target on the short, but we were looking for the long setup, right? So when we did that long setup, and this is where you know, where I bought here at 1150. I was a little late, but then I gave the targets. Let's see what are the targets I gave. So it was a D minus. What is a D minus? It's against the cloud. It's against my cloud system, but but we still have to take the trade because, you know, based upon our analysis, we think it's a good risk reward. So I gave the target of 1200. Then once we pushed over this cup and handle we made here, so that was a cup and handle. So 512 clouds, MTF bounce, 512 cloud, cup and handle. I told the traders stops at 1170. You buy here 1185s, stops at 1170, target 1200. From even that trade, we hit 1200. Next target I gave 1200, 1220. You know, we hit 1200, we hit 1220, move the stops to 1195. Next target I gave 1235, we hit 1235. After 1235, we didn't really move much, so we stopped out once we broke this 512 and 3450. So you see that you could literally make $100 per share. You know, I made over $70, $80 per share on this trade. Even if you have 100 shares, you know, that's $6-7 grand worth of trade you could do here. So, and you could trade leverage ETFs, you could trade options, but you need to be ready, you need to have to the system. And this is the same exact setup. This is called the earning flush and bounce. Earning flush and bounce. Same exact setup we did on Reddit. Let me see if I can show you that. Same exact setup. Earning flush. I told the traders to long. You know, you can see my timestamp recap, and we actually took it all the way back to 172. It was a very profitable long trade for us that as well. Micron analysis, beautiful trade, huge winner. Even yesterday we were long. I showed you my timestamp entry and the guidance in the community, and this morning, amazing winner. There was only one long entry, D minus, and this was Reddit. You see, it was all similar. It was a D minus, and then it was 512 calls, MTF bounces, A plus, repeatable setup. You just need to repeat and have these big winners to grow your account consistently and hold. All right, so next trade we're going to take a look at is BB. So let's see what was the plan on BB. BlackBerry, always look at the daily charts before you trade intraday. So BlackBerry, you see the BlackBerry was actually pretty bullish even before the earnings, and it was kind of flagging on the daily chart. It has been running from 350 all the way to 10 bucks. Just like Nokia, all the ICE 8 stocks coming back to life, right? So this morning the earning was pretty good, and I highlight it as a red focus play. Red focus for me, and bullish bias to long versus 950, 9 levels. So as I covered in my webinars and previous recaps, as soon as I see this breaking out here, I tell the traders long. I don't even tell, of course I guide step by step, real time, live screen, but the key is to know what you're doing, right? So I told the traders to long and put the stops at 960, and we longed it 990, 960, 30-cent stop. First target was 10, 1050, 11 was our second target. We hit our first target, 1050, 11 target, we missed it. We pulled back, held this support. I told the traders to move the stops up to 10 bucks. So we held the 10 bucks, then it started to chop, and we actually got out here. But some of the traders went into a high time frame and 15 minutes or 30 minutes, and they again got the double top here. So it was a good trade, nothing crazy, but you could literally make, risking 30 cents, you could make 80 to 90 cents on BlackBerry. Pretty good trade, great guidance by RGV as well. You can see that my step-by-step guidance, 935, 939, I gave the two targets, and I told the traders to take some profits at 10 a.m. And then we broke this flag. This is the flag, and then it pushed higher. Big float, right? So that's how it moves. And a nice guidance by RGV. So that was a nice one. Let's go to the next one here. So what you saw today, there was a lot of stocks which are part of Dow Jones. They were strong. Caterpillar, Merck, UNH, Honeywell, J&J. And you need to know that. You need to know all your sectors. What is Dow Jones? What is S&P? What is QQQs? All your sectors, right? So we had some news on banks. So let's go back to the JPM. Why was the long here? 50 billion buyback and increase in dividend. Also, they passed the Fed stress test yesterday. So JP Morgan long if MTF holds, call over previous day high, pre-market highs, and let's see what JP Morgan did. JP Morgan, as soon as it pushed over the previous day high, yesterday high, you take it long, went all the way to 343. That was spot on. I told the traders as soon as it broke out, it was a beautiful trade. You not only that, even if we look at Lilly, so let's look at Lilly. So Lilly was also strong. Other thing you gotta note is that what you gotta see is that healthcare was strong. Healthcare, Lilly, J&J, there was a rotation happening, right? Only in the hardwares, only the memory was strong, but there was a rotation happening into this Lilly and the finance, Lilly stocks and finance stocks. So you can see that. You can also go to Tanner Research or you can use finviz.com to see that what happened. So that's why Lilly was strong, because there was a news on Lilly. Let's go to our pre-market plan on Lilly. Let's see what was our pre-market plan. Pre-market plan on Lilly, highlighted as a red play. Good news. Trade over the previous day close versus 1 hour MTFs, right? So what happened? Held the previous day close, held it, you long it right here, you put your stops right here, $5 stops or $6 stops, you take it all the way to 1145. So all these trades, were beautiful trades all in these trades and were the beautiful trades in the community. Lilly, traders traded it. UNH was also good, and JP Morgan also was good. So there was a pretty good setups that traders traded today. And let's look at the next ones. So now we're going to look at the day 2 setups, right? There was an insane amount of setups. Day 2 strategy, I did a webinar explain what a day 2 strategy means. So we had a bunch of setups on day 2, SpaceX, Rocket Lab, AAOI, PLTR, CBRS, all the top day 2 setups that I gave. So let's start with Rocket Lab first, right? So space was still strong, still weak. What did I say in the pre-market plan? No go under pre-market low, starter short under previous day close, bearish if breaks the previous day low. So you starter short it, break it, you add the short, take it all the way down. You could literally make $5 per share profit, although we made money on the swing ads as well that we added today, and in our Tanner research, we had a Rocket Lab that we added. You could see that when I told the traders to add at $81, but in the morning it was short, right? So in the morning, Rocket Lab was short setup that faded. So let's look at the next one, AAOI. AAOI. And we actually had added it yesterday at 148. We trimmed it in the morning. And all this is time stamped. I never just say for sake of it. You could go on Channel Research, Channel Trade Group. You can see that. So AAOI trade versus 1 hour MTF, short under 1 hour MTF. So as soon as I saw the weakness on the MTF on AAOI, I told the traders that you don't have to be in AOI. You just exit it. We trimmed it. You exit it. Let's see here if I can show you guys here. All right here. Yeah. So I told the traders was the MTF for the profit take, and we exited the longs at the open on AAOI, but you could also short it. The pre-market planning was spot on. Short under 1 hour MTF breakout, and this is a day 2 strategy. Anything which has momentum yesterday, see it has been selling off and it's hitting MTF clouds. Next day you could literally short it from 150, 149, take it all the way to 135. Could literally make a nice little short there on there. Same thing was for PLTR. Also day 2 setup, bearish to short under the pre-market lows. You could see short here, take it all the way down, make $2-3 per share profit. So this is our day 2 strategy. CBRS had an earnings yesterday, of course is used number 1 earning day 2s. You can see that earning day 2, 200 magnet, bearish bias to short on the previous day low. You short it, you see the market is heavy, take it down. So that's how you plan your day 2, day 3 setups. Those are always good setups there. So let's see what else was happening in the market here. Nothing much. We were done in the morning with our short setups, but if you look at there were some other setups. TEM was pretty good, bullish in the morning. DLTR from our game plan was good in the morning. But overall, we just wrapped up with the morning. 1 hour was the best time to trade everything. And then, so Micron was a big win. So hopefully you learned it. Remember the gap fill setups, the gap fill and bounce, 10 AM concept. Remember that. Hopefully you can apply it in something later. Bye.